Hello, hello, good day, good day. Well, at first glance it might look like it's a day to examine a VIC-20, but this is not the case. I got a call from somebody who, I guess, has been aware of me and been active in the Commodore community and certainly in computers for, 40 years or so, but we never actually met. Anyway, to make a long story short, they had a rather catastrophic flood. And so today I'm going to look at a Commodore 64 that hopefully, possibly, maybe has survived this flood. Now, did it work before the flood? I don't know. When was the last time it was plugged in? I don't know. So we're going to see. I turned on the VIC-20 just to make sure that I had everything ready to have a look at this. So, without further ado, let's see what we see here. It's a Commodore 64. It looks pretty clean. Oh, it's not really together right. It has its screws. It does. I'm thinking, as I sometimes do, that I want to unplug this fine VIC-20 and move it. Let's see. Of course, I have documented VIC-20 works. Test more with original box. Some things are socketed. Alright. I should find. Oh yes. This was very likely the original box. Yep. I'll put that there too. And these would be accessories to be tested. In other words, an RF modulator, a switch, and something to plug into a television. I'll put that in the mysterious cable box. And here's the sacred sleeve. Maybe I should leave that here. There, we'll leave that there. Okay, so now this 64, it looks pretty fine. I think so. I don't believe this was in the water, but just in case there's something to be worried about, I think I will open this up, and judging from the way the screws are acting, I don't think it's been opened much. The screws felt awfully original and awfully secure. And let us look. Aha! It's beautiful. The version is 250407, revision A. All the major chips are socketed. It's got a pretty green color to it. The fuse, just from my eye, looks good, I suppose. Oh, I don't want to hurt this. I suppose I should disconnect the keyboard. Too many things, so little time. I should check the fuse just because I can. So I have my meter. I will set it. I will listen. It beeps. I will touch the fuse and touch the fuse. So the fuse appears to be good. No need to refuse. So the screws are here. We will connect to video. I forgot to check if the power switch was off, but indeed it was. We will flip the switch in a moment. 50-50 chance. Here we go. Alrighty. So far, oh, sorry, we seem to be okay. But just because a Commodore 64 comes up like this, it does not mean it's okay. There's all kinds of things that can still be trouble. The chips seem okay. Everything appears to be okay. I don't see any vast corrosion here and there and everywhere. Oh, by the way, I've updated and upgraded my lighting system. I don't know if you've seen, there are these things, and I wonder if they aren't, you know, sort of put together by the electrical industry, who's upset that now we can get bulbs like this that give us about the same light as 60 watts for the equivalent of 14. Yeah, 14 watts instead of 60. Good savings. Oh, there's another bulb. But anyway, they make these things now. They're these massive things that are light bulbs. They screw into a regular socket, but they often won't fit into a regular thing. And the one I got has 5 wings that come out, and you can select different angles up, well, within a 90-degree range. They can all just point out, or they can point sideways and such like that. And supposedly it uses about 100 watts. Back to what the electrical industry would like. But let me tell you, they throw a lot of light. I don't know if this video looks remarkably different, because I know the iPad does adapt to different lighting situations. But I tell you, it's nice to be able to be looking in here and not having to say, I've got light but I can't see. These are remarkably good. I think they're mostly suggested for like garages. And I put one in the closet. Oh, it's so nice to be able to go into a closet and see what's what. Anyway, so now that I can see better, I can look here. Now, I suppose one thing I could do, I could take a cartridge, like Choplifter, and I could put it in. And it does seem to function. It does. Huh. If only I had a joystick handy. Now I don't know if I have to plug in the keyboard for this. Maybe, maybe not. I'd like to hear some sound. Aha. Things are happening. Okay, I'm going to turn off the autofire. Aha! That's the ticket. Sideways, autofire on. Let's go get some tanks. We will fly low. Whoa, hey, right between the tanks. What is that crap? Where's my guys? There's a tank. Okay, now I don't think I can kill these guys. As you know, I have not done well at this game, although I have been getting better over the last while by coming up with strategies to beat... Oh no! He took one out. To beat the plane. And I've got to remember those strategies. Certainly this strategy with an auto-fire joystick is quite magical. Oh no. Oh no! Another one died. It's quite magical when it comes to killing tanks. Now, are there more guys here? I don't think there's more guys here. I think I can turn this off, and that is as good as it gets. I lost 2. I saved 14. And we hear some sound. We will land. Well, as I say, so far, the 64 is looking pretty okay. But as I've said before, actually I think I want to turn that off to get rid of the noise. I'm going to, yes, I will start to sell things. I've said this before, it just hasn't happened. But I want to, and if you have any suggestions, that would be great. I want to, run things through the diagnostics, but also come up with sort of some other tests. Because as you know, you turn on a 64, it comes up like this, it looks fine, you think, yay, it works. And if you go to get one and you say, yeah, you turn on, yeah, it works, it's fine. But it doesn't always mean that, because there's all kinds of things to be plugged in. And whoever tests the RF modulator? And whoever, hooks up a data set and says, hey, is this working? If you're not going to use it, what's it matter? But it doesn't give an indication of what's going on inside the machine. Same with a modem, same with a printer, same with a disk drive, games, cartridges, maybe an IEEE interface. All these things, and joysticks of course, all these things are things that you should be able to hook up and work with, and depending on the status of the things inside the machine, there may be trouble, there may not be trouble. But I would like to come up with sort of a checklist. A checklist is a beautiful thing. Airline pilots use it all the time, and now more and more and more surgeons use checklists to make sure they got everything right handy, just in case. But checklists are good. I actually have a mental checklist when I get in the car. Firstly, of course, I unlock the door, I get in. But there's one thing I was doing. I have these glasses I wear when I drive, because my eyes are pretty good, but they just make things just a tweak sharper. But you see, where I leave them sitting, sometimes, if I put my seatbelt on, I can't reach my glasses. Because I can't reach that eye. So, part of the checklist is put on the glasses before you put on the seatbelt. Now, if the glasses are up in the thing in the ceiling, it doesn't matter, I can reach them. But if I have left them on the dash, so checklists are important. So, indeed, I would like to come up with a checklist, and basically coming up with a way to certify a Commodore 64. And it's funny, when I do start listing things and selling things, I don't have any modern power supplies. The one I use right now is one that is very much like a 128 power supply. It would have been sold with a 1764 RAM expander. Because, of course, the regular power supply wouldn't handle that. So I trust that. That's good. That's dandy. More and more people saying, oh my God, don't plug in an old one. Don't do it. It'll roast things. I have not had that experience. But I don't want to either. And I don't want to send something off to somebody and then have them say, your power supply, it killed it, what'll I do? So I think when I do, start to lighten my collection, and still, if you were asking me how many 64s do you have, I still don't know. I don't know. And this one, of course, seems to be okay, but is it okay? I don't know. I have to check. I'm going to still... Ooh, warmth. That's the thing I want to do in gathering things and getting them ready, if ever, and then saying, you know, I tested this. Not just I turned it on, but I really, really tested this. So, oh, I know what, paddles. You need to check it with paddles, because the SID chip also has the paddle stuff in it. And of course, the SID chip, because the SID chips are, the original ones are incredibly expensive. Incredibly crazy. But there's more, there are replacements now, and I heard there's a replacement now that actually does the paddle stuff. But I don't know how it sounds. I don't know. But, you know, the purists want the original. Just the way it is. Anyway, so I'm going to come up with a checklist of things to try. And if you have any suggestions, please write to me. But for the moment, this 64 appears to be okay. I think what I will do later tonight is I will plug it into this fine power supply, and I will let it sit overnight in a state that is on. Probably not with a cartridge in it, but maybe, probably not. Just to let it sit and see what's on. Oh, of course, another thing to check that must be checked. Just a second. I was just about done there. Is, that's the keyboard. Is the keyboard. Because keyboards do have a way of, well, it's a funny thing. They can, there we go, they can get dirty inside, and then the keys don't work well. But also, if one of the 6526 chips is defective, certain parts of the keyboard can work, and other parts will not. There's sort of a pattern to it. Now, I don't have a 6526 chip that has failed in this way handy, but maybe I should. That did not go well. Yeah, some colors just don't look good. Poke 5, 3, 2, 8, 0, comma. Oops, comma. 0. Poke 5, 3, 2, 8, 1, comma, 0. And then maybe we'll go for white. Yay. 10. Print. Oh. Do not shift when you don't mean to shift. Commodore 64 space semicolon. Nope, that's colon. Go to 10. Whee. So, it does seem to work. I was watching a little clip online. It had some guy trying to sell a Commodore 64 to the fellows at Pawn Stars. And indeed they did buy it. But Rick, who I guess had one of these way back when, put in a little program that just printed Rick down the screen. Just down the screen. If only he'd put in a semicolon and added an extra space, he could have had something cool like this. Yeah. And of course, let's see. How would purple look? Yeah. Some combinations look good. And some just don't. What about cyan? I think this usually looks pretty Anyway, so what we seem to have is a working 64, but we'll see, because you never know, you know. And certainly I will probably let it burn in, hopefully not burn up, for somewhere between 12 and 24 hours. Typically I do these things on the weekend, and it's just about weekend time. So there is more stuff from this sad story for me to examine, but for the moment I'm happy that this seems to be up and running, and I can at least test things. I don't have to be yanking chips out. Although, have I really tested the SID chip completely? No, not at all. So I need to do that. And I want to show you something. I have the lights on in here. I'm going to hit the main power switch here, which will turn everything off, including this incredibly bright light that is magical. Magical. And you'll see, perhaps, a difference. So I'm going to turn it off. It's going to turn off the 64. It's going to turn off all the power supplies. It's going to turn off the lava lamp, the monitor, not the on-off, on-air signs. But right now, the way I have this thing set up, it has, I guess, 2 of the panels kind of pointing towards me, the rest indirectly off the ceiling. The nice thing about having it up high is, and having it do is it's not blinding me either. I can see what's going on down here. Alright, it's time to turn out the lights. So, this is kind of what I had going before, although I typically also had a light with one of those aluminum things with just a regular bulb pointing at me. Anyway, these bulbs, they're not the cheapest things in the world, but they will brighten up your garage, your crawl space, your... I would imagine if they're in a protected place, they'd also be a good thing for outdoors. Maybe for security light, as long as they're protected from the weather, underneath an eave or something or other. They are something. They are. So, that's enough for now. Thanks so much for coming. Do keep in touch, and if you have any suggestions for my checklist of what to run through to test a computer that I may put up for sale, do let me know. I'm all ears. Because I try and think of everything, but invariably, I will have forgotten something. So, it is time to go out. To remember how to turn this thing off. So we're officially now off the air. Thanks so much for coming. Stay tuned. Bye for now.